The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Great to see you. We're back in action. We got power in St. Petersburg, Florida. Florida still reeling, man, getting things back in action. We have gas shortages, of course. People with power out there still struggling as Florida tries to get everybody back in power. But we're fortunate this morning to have power back in the studios in St. Petersburg, Florida. And yeah, we got live action. We got markets in positive territory. And we come to you live on Monday morning with record prices as we speak, almost to the tick in the S&P, folks. You talk about it, man. There it is. 58.76. We're up by 16 points. That's 0.25% in the S&Ps to kick off the trading action. NASDAQ 100, we're up about 0.5%, 20,556 right now, up 106 points. Dow slightly in the red this morning, 43,101, off 42 points, or about 0.1%. And you got the Russell, positive by about 0.1%, or 2 points in the positive, 2252. You jump over to Bitcoin, up $2,000. Quite the run from last Thursday. Volatility continuing. Crude dropping back to $74 this morning. We got a little bit of crude headlines out there. Why not? I'll jump to it. Is that the headline? Yeah, OPEC further trims oil demand. How about it, man? Demand side. Yeah. They expect demand to grow by just shy of 2 million barrels a day this year and 1.6 million barrels a day next year, and that is trimming the estimates. Yeah. Still well above historical levels, but nonetheless, $74 for the price of light sweet crude this morning. You jump over to gold. Gold up to $26.84 overnight. We're down to $26.67, off by about $8 on the session. And how about notes and bonds, man? Lower price, higher yield, coming at you. We got the 10-year down 15 ticks at 111.25. You jump over to yields right now. Where are we? Forgive me. I'll pull it up. And then we jump over to the dollar index, DXY, 103.25 as we got higher yields coming at you. You got the dollar. And what you do have is you have the note and bond market. Yeah, when is this? So that market is technically closed for the Columbus holiday. Futures look to be open, but nonetheless, you got lower price, higher yield. You got the dollar with strength. That's putting a little bit of weakness in the gold contract, and we got markets in positive territory to kick things off. We jump over to NVIDIA shares this morning. It's not stopping. NVIDIA going to open up another $2. It just doesn't stop. 136.58. We're right near the all-time highs. 140.76 out there for NVIDIA. And boy, if you bought the dip out there, you're up by 50%. Did you hear that? If you bought the dip on that August 5th acceleration on the yen unwinding trade, you are up 50% on NVIDIA shares. Talk about some volatility, man. This morning, though, we're up by $2 in NVIDIA. And yeah, that's where we'll kick it off, man. How about it? NVIDIA, the headline. Can't help but talk about it. Rides fierce Blackwell demand towards stock record again. Yeah, and we've seen some of the comments out there recently. Stock's up 11% so far this month. Yeah, and just off of the all-time highs. There's the chart we were just taking a look at. And what's intriguing here is, right, you check out the chart on the Bloomberg, and they only put you down to about 100, because I think that was a pre-market acceleration on August 5th when the markets were really accelerating. The future, although I'm not sure, because it seems like that's the day. Maybe that's just the last price of the day. Nonetheless, you can see that they don't include anything below 100 on this chart. Actually made it down to 90 on that retracement, and you're pushing all-time highs yet again on NVIDIA this morning, driving the AI revolution, man. Pretty remarkable. Yeah. And we've seen those comments. Yeah. NVIDIA's talking about insane demand. I mean, expectations at all-time highs, though. That's what you got to keep in mind. Yeah, you had recent sales from Taiwan Semiconductor showing strong AI demand. I mean, all these companies, right? nonetheless, positive prices, and that's what's been driving this market. So if that's going to keep going, this market just might keep going, man. Microsoft, you're going to be up by about $2 on the open to 418.50. We put it back to a 5-minute chart. There's your acceleration higher this morning. We jump over to Amazon. Amazon up to about 190. We close at 188.82 over there, and we're flirting with all-time highs for Amazon too, right? 201, bumping up against that level. All-time highs for Amazon shares. We're sitting above 190 right now. You jump over to Tesla. They're going to catch a bid by about $3. You're up from 217 to 220 in the pre-market. A lot of talk about their big event that they had last Thursday evening with the rollout of the cyber taxi, the robo-taxi, all of that stuff. If you've been watching the program, I think I made my views pretty clear to be careful of these Tesla shares, folks. Now, you've pulled back to the 618. That's right at about the 217 area. But, yeah, you're looking at a company valued at, I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a company pushing $700 billion market cap. 705 is the number you're at even with this pullback. A lot of optimism priced into Tesla for a $700 billion company on the premise of a story that is very light on details from their event on Thursday night. Yeah. What was also remarkable, I can't help but talk about this one. I know I talk about it a lot, but can't help but talk about it. There was a time when an event like Thursday night that was kind of light on details but big on the promise of big ideas would have accelerated this stock higher. But the market has changed. They are looking for more than just a story from Mr. Musk, okay? And they didn't get it this time. And they want more than just the story. And so be careful, because it's going to take a long time for Tesla to give investors on the market more than just a story in terms of actually putting up the vehicles that they are consistently talking about in terms of what they have going on, the robo-taxis, etc. Tesla shares slightly in the green with the market this morning. Jump over to Google this morning. Positive by about $1 to 165.49. Some of the other chip stocks, AMD traded lower Thursday as they announced their new chips to take on Blackwell. Market seemed to not appreciate what they were putting out there. And you talk about Intel unappreciated. They accelerated higher on Friday. Intel pushing 23.65. You started the week yesterday at about last week, at about 22. Take a little bit of a longer term look at Intel. Just chopping around, but well off the lows at 18.51. You're sitting at 23.56. Intel basically flat right now coming into the open. We check out the commodities. You take a look at crude. That's your daily. Back to a 5-minute chart. Lows last week of 71.53, and we're sitting right now at 74.12. And yeah, when we got lower price and higher yield, and you got dollar strength, right? We can check in on that dollar 103.23. You take a look at the daily. This is quite a rebound. Yeah, we're crossing the 50% line of the move all the way from 106 to 100. You're back to 103.23 right now for the dollar, and anytime you get that amount of strength, that's going to weigh on the price of gold. And gold holding up relatively well with how much dollar strength we have, though. We talked about this last week. I mean, look at this rebound in the dollar. And meanwhile, since September 30th, you've had the dollar rise from 100 to 103.22. And meanwhile, where are we sitting? We're at like the exact same gold price. There's September 30th. Yeah. Remarkable strength in gold, considering what it's done as you've had that strength in the dollar. Stay tuned, folks. We got a lot to talk about. Back in action, Monday action in the market. We'll be right back. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger Zen, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger Zen, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. S&P's up by 18 points right now. We're up by 0.3%. We're talking about all-time highs, literally to the tick as I talk to you. 58.78. We could get 5,600 in this market. 5,900. We could get 5,900 in this market today. We're only about 22 points away on the futures. You jump over the VIX. So we take a look at this VIX, right? We make a low, and this is just going back on an hourly, but for some context here, 1490 on September 26th. Okay, we got quite an elevated VIX when you talk about pushing all-time highs. Okay, if you follow the VIX, you follow the market, you know that very rarely does the market accelerate to all-time highs as you have the VIX accelerate from 15 to 20. Okay, so keep in mind, remember, about September 26th, you're making lows out here, and now we're trading at all-time highs and the VIX is at 20. You just pull up a chart of the S&P, very similar. There's September 26th. All right, yeah, we had a little bit of volatility. We had October 1st, you spiking lower. We had October 7th spiking lower. But it is remarkable that look at where we were in the market on September 26th. Look at what the market has done. It's performed very well, especially off the lows that we had about a week ago on October 7th. And in that time frame, we've seen a constant rise in the VIX. Now, yes, we've paired those gains a bit, but we have not seen them drop off dramatically. There is volatility premium priced into this market. The price of insurance is staying elevated. People have those spikes up on their back. So just be aware, because whenever you see the VIX at an elevated level and you see the market just continuing to plow higher, be aware that there are risk parameters that people are putting in place on the premise that the market could have a pullback, and that's why they're buying that insurance, and that's why it's more expensive than it had been previously. Yeah. Okay, what else we got going on? Let's take a look at some of the equities going on now. We jump around. Boeing shares trading at 148.10 for Boeing. And yeah, so Boeing was out on Friday. They're cutting 17,000 jobs. The market seemed to like that on Friday. You give it back around the open on a longer term basis. It's a tough one for Boeing, man. It just doesn't stop, right? Yeah, this thing wasn't a downtrend channel. You break out of it. I don't think you're going back into this downtrend channel. If you do, you better watch out, man, with this equity. But boy, you look at this run, man. You know, maybe we're coming down to test this area that you based from 2013 to 2016. You're talking about an area of about 130, 135. You're trading at 148 right now. That correlates to the lows we had in 2022. Probably the area you're going to come down and test. Technically, that's the area. That's the COVID lows. That's the lows from 2022, and that's the lows that you chopped around for the better part of almost 3 years, from late 2023 to where this thing accelerated in 2016. And man, there's nothing like experience, folks. You look at a chart like this, right? Never think a company can't give it back, because boy, it was quite a parabolic rise and fall. Our man Basil Chapman, right? He likes those symmetrical formations, and that's quite a symmetrical parabolic rise and fall. And you got Boeing. Yeah, be careful for Boeing. I think you got a little bit more to the downside here, even on that give on Friday. You see how quickly you can give it back. We're trading at 148.50 for Boeing shares. You jump over to Southwest. So they got Elliott with the proxy battle, the headline out there. And this is coming down the line in the next couple months. So they're looking for a December special meeting at Southwest Airlines is what the deal is. They've requested a December 10th meeting. They have 11% of this equity, and they're trying to get board directors on there, of course. Elliott has trimmed the size of their board slate from 10 to 8 after Southwest shrunk their board from 15 to 12. They have an 11% stake. First time they've been an activist investor that they've done this since 2017. Yeah, so you're talking about 7 years, right? They've never before called for a special meeting, which at Southwest carries a higher threshold of approval compared with voting at a regularly scheduled shareholder meeting. And they have a little less than 2 months to solicit votes from shareholders, large and small. What I will say is, if you're a shareholder of this equity, yeah, you're probably ready for some change. Because if you've held this equity anywhere from 2014, you're a loser in Southwest. But you know what? They're not alone. Because, I say that. Look at Delta, though. Delta's pushing near the highs of that chop. United, a little bit of a different story. They all dropped off during COVID, of course. American, 1179. That's a tough one. And then the toughest of them all probably is JetBlue, down to 672. Maybe Spirit's the toughest of them all, going BK, but nonetheless, the airlines. But yeah, look for that date on December. A little bit of volatility coming at you for Southwest. All right, what else we got lined up here? Yeah, just Florida, as I was talking about. So it is pretty remarkable, folks. The gas deal is really intense. Thankfully, that seems to have quelled. So there is gas around now. Everything seems to have calmed a bit. But, folks, the last 48 hours was wild. So I'll give you how it went. We had the storm hit Wednesday. On Thursday, I went to Tampa to check out my property in Tampa. I was driving around there. So I was doing some driving. This is what happens, right? So I drive to Tampa. I drive back. That's about 100 miles round trip. Long story short, because this storm accelerated so quickly early, people knew this was coming, right? Everybody was talking about this Sunday. Maybe they're talking about it Monday. My tenants in Tampa were leaving on Monday. The storm hit Wednesday night. Gas stations had no gas on Monday last week, a week ago. So the storm hits Wednesday. You can drive around Thursday. So Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning, I could drive from Lakeland all the way to Tampa, right? I-4 was clear. Some small roads still had debris for sure, but they got the big roads clear, the highways. And so there's no gas on Thursday. That makes sense. The storm just hit. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to start getting gas in Friday. No stations open Friday either. So what happens is I got like 30 miles left in my tank. I wake up Saturday morning, and I just start driving. And I'm like, this is going to be intense, man. I only got 30 miles to find a gas station. And thankfully, there are the gas stations back in tow. I was there at about 8 in the morning, Saturday morning, beat some of the rush, still waited about a half hour in lines. This is Saturday, folks. The storm hit Wednesday. So I'm driving around, and you would literally see 2 sheriffs, right, escorting gas tanks all over the state, as they should have. It was a real emergency. That seems to have calmed down a bit. The power deal is pretty intense, though, because I was back over in St. Pete at our offices on Saturday. No power, still on Saturday. Storm hit on Wednesday. Thankfully, we're back up this morning, but it's still impacting a lot of people. And the number they have here is more than 1.1 million people are without power, and this was as of Saturday night. And then it was updated. So I don't know where that goes. But a lot of people still without power. Keep us in your thoughts. And there's going to be a lot of people in those coastal areas, those barrier islands to rebuild. But it is pretty remarkable how we are still there. You got schools are still shut down Monday and Tuesday, at least of this week, because they had no power coming in. So just getting back on our feet. But boy, those storms. All right, folks, stay tuned. We're coming back for the open, and we are coming back at record territory. S&P is up by 16. NASDAQ up by 105. We'll be right back for the opening bell, folks.
The consistency you're looking for is closer than you think. 1 or 2 adjustments are usually all you need to change your equity curve from red to green and keep it there. Come join Larry Pesavento live to learn what separates the winners from the losers. Join Larry Pesavento on the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time, where Larry will show you the market setting up and, most important of all, the state of mind of a winning trader. By watching Larry trade, you'll learn the Fibonacci levels, you'll learn how to apply A to B to C to D trading patterns, you'll learn trade management, pattern recognition, and much more. Join Larry October 11th and 25th for more live trading action. Your purchase goes towards 2 sessions, so make sure to sign up now so you don't miss a chance to sit next to Larry as he trades the market live. For all information and reserve your spot today, go to the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The stock market is a delicate, interconnecting web of commodities, equities, and trader psychology. When one string of the web is pulled, it has a ripple effect across the broader market. This is where opportunity lies. But how are you to gather all of this information into one cohesive model when you're already spending your energy looking for any possible trade opportunities? Luckily, you don't have to worry about that, as Tom O'Brien has brought all important market news to you in one single newsletter, Market Insights. Market Insights provides a daily overview of what's happening in the indexes, bonds, gold, and more. Follow along with Tom daily as he analyzes the components that affect the overall movement of the stock market, giving insight into how each one plays either a bullish or bearish role. Tom also analyzes specific equities that he believes has the potential to make huge returns, and his track record proves his analysis right. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Don't let the market leave you in the dust.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got stock market open. We got S&Ps up by 14 right now. NASDAQ 100 up by 95. Dow off 72, and Russell off by 1 right now. And keeping in mind, again, you got the bond market closed, technically, even though you got futures trading for Columbus holiday. I was thinking last night, I said to myself, I was checking, I realized my mom says to me, it's Columbus Day. Did you know it's Columbus Day? I says, Columbus Day. Is the market closed on Columbus Day? No, market's not closed. We don't get Columbus Day. But nonetheless, yes, we got the market for notes and bonds technically closed, but futures trading. And what do we got? Lower price, higher yield. That's driving strength in the dollar at 103.23. And that's going to weigh on gold. But gold, as I mentioned, man, holding up amazingly well at 26.70 in light of the recent strength that we've had in that dollar. And boy, you ever get a little pullback in the dollar, and I don't know if we're going to get that pullback just yet, but it's always nice that if you do. Been shopping around in this range from about 100 to 106 for 2 full years in that dollar. And we're right in the middle of that range right now. You take a look at a longer term time frame, right? And boy, the only time that the dollar has been stronger than where we are right now, okay, going back 22 years, was for, now, yes, it was slightly above the beginning of this year. Yes, it was slightly above last year. But the only time it's really gotten above here was that acceleration you had in 2022. And even if we're higher for longer, okay, I don't know if you're going to be back up at that 115 level. Because if you remember what drove the dollar from 90 to 115, it's when we were the only game in town. Okay, we had higher interest rates. Europe hadn't even started hiking yet, and we were pushing 5% like that. The market got ahead of the Fed, of course, but they knew where they were going, and we're at 103. And this is the only time in the last 22 years that you've been above that price level. So from a risk-reward perspective, okay, even if you go higher for longer, there's still the possibility that we get the dollar weakness at some degree. But it's not coming yet. But if we do, that's going to help gold. Gold just remarkably strong with where the dollar is. All right, let's talk a little bit of earnings because we are in earnings season. We're going to be coming into the thick of it. And this one from Bloomberg. So everyone's undecided. They're at odds. CEOs and analysts are at odds about the S&P 500 earnings outlook. We always say, right? It's not what have you done for me lately. It's what are you going to do for me in the future? The outlook matters much more so, usually, than what you did in the past. Because realistically, if you underperformed over the last 90 days, the market will forgive you pretty quickly if you tell them you're going to overperform going forward. Okay? Data compiled by Bloomberg Intelligence shows analysts expect S&P 500 firms to report a 4.2% increase in third quarter earnings, down from a 7% forecast in mid-July. Okay? Yeah. There's the guidance implies a jump of about 16%. That's quite a differentiation, right? The dichotomy was unusually large, okay? And the significantly stronger outlook suggests companies should easily beat expectations. Well, we'll see. Margins should keep marching higher as companies emphasize efficiency. That always helps with the margins. But yeah, look at where we are. Revisions, okay? Check out this chart alone. This is why I want to talk about this article. Earnings revisions, the most negative since December of 2022, almost a couple years ago. And look at where we are. This is U.S. Earnings Revision Index. I'm not familiar, but nonetheless, I guess it sums it up. Look at where the S&P 500 is. Look at what happened the last time we had some real negative revisions. You were trading lower, okay? And look at how this market has plowed higher. And look at, okay, the last few months, which is like the last quarter, right? Yeah. It is a tough one, man, in terms of where you are, where the revisions go, and earnings are driving everything, right? Yeah. So the reporting period started on a positive note. The banks crushed it. I'll sum it up. Yeah. JP Morgan crushed it. The banks were up big. We'll check in on them. Yeah, and the analysts are back racing. JP Morgan estimates, earning estimates cuts ahead of the season created a lower bar to clear. Yeah, and then look at this, right? So, underperformance of the mega caps at odds with higher earnings expectations. The forward earnings per share ratio is climbing, but you get the S&P 500 diving a little bit. Just pay attention to some of these little differences here. The fundamental reason for the underperformance of the Magnificent Seven could simply be the deceleration in earnings per share growth from the very strong pace last year. Yeah. Now, this is Morgan Stanley's Wilson. He had been a bear for a while, and he had been fantastically wrong, okay? If earnings revisions show relative strength, these stocks will likely outperform once again, like it did during the second quarter and all of 2023, when, yeah, expectations were pretty low. It's earnings season, and earnings season, they drive a lot of the action. Let's drive and see how some of these equities are opening. Microsoft up about 0.6% right now. Amazon shares. You drive lower on the open, you're basically flat. You jump over to the big dog, Apple. There's a lift for you, man. That'll help the market. Apple up by 1.5%. You got the NASDAQ 100 up 142 points right now. We jump in on NVIDIA, check in on NVIDIA. There you go. That's going to help the NASDAQ too, up by 2.4%. Man, wild stuff, NVIDIA. They just keep chugging higher. We check in on Tesla. Yeah, they give it back on the open. Even with the NASDAQ 100, you got growth stocks trading higher. You got Tesla giving it back on the open. You're up by about 0.3%. We check in on some of those banks. They give it back slightly, but it was quite a trade higher on Friday. You got JP Morgan from 212 to 224 on Friday. I mean, look at how you take the earnings, you take the call, and then the market opens, and it's a straight shot up. Wells Fargo, they get a little bit of a lift again following their action on Friday. You're up by 1.5% right now. Bank of America, up, you're flat so far this morning. Citi, up by about 0.2% so far this morning as well. As this market just continuing, up by 23 points right now. Check in on Southwest shares. You're basically flat. We check in on crude. Trading at 74.30 right now. ExxonMobil, 122.99. Chevron trading at 150.73, slightly in the red with crude sitting at about $74. We check back in on that gold contract. Yeah, gold only off $5 right now, 26.71. All right. Let's talk a little bit of China. Yeah. So we got a couple here. Let me pull this one over first. And yeah, before we do, some of these Chinese stocks, Pinduoduo down by 4.7%, volatility continuing. You got Alibaba down by 2.7% over there. China exports growth slows in a blow to the economy's bright spot. Shipments to many markets fall. The U.S. and the EU demand slows. Russian purchases of Chinese goods hit a record in September. Folks, China's not going to be able to replace the U.S. and the EU with Russia. Yes, it's going to help, but that is not going to do it, man. Exports climbed just 2.4% in dollar terms from a year earlier to almost $304 billion, the lowest level since May, the Customs Administration said Monday. Shipments to key markets, including Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, all fell. Yeah, it's a big one, man. We'll talk about this when we get back. We'll talk a little bit of China. I got a couple different articles pulled up here. We're going to talk about Chinese stocks. We're going to talk about Goldman upgrading China growth forecasts at a time when the stimulus isn't getting it done. We'll talk some U.S. equities as well. Be right back, folks.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey. Because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices selective stocks, and more. Opening Call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps right now up by 23 points. We check in on the VIX sitting at 2049 right now. And yeah, pretty remarkable that we come into an election. I'm at Jeff in the YouTube Tigers Den talking about VIX stuck at 20. I started the program off with it, Jeff, man. I agree. VIX stuck at 20. We got an election coming around, and we get this market that will not trade lower. But guess what? It's earnings, man. This market, driven by what's been driving this market. The likes of NVIDIA up by 2.2%. Apple up by 1.6% so far this morning. Microsoft up a full percentage point so far this morning. Amazon up by 0.2% so far this morning. It is remarkable, man. Tesla up by 0.3%. But yeah, NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, those alone, pretty remarkable accelerations to the upside. We get back to China real quick. So we check in. Pinduoduo down about 5% right now. Alibaba down about 2% on the open right now. And we check back in on some of those China. So this article I was talking about here is that China exports growth slows. Okay, now what's been happening here is that exports have been driving China higher, folks, okay? They have a domestic problem, right? Domestic demand is faltering. Domestic consumers not spending what they had, but the ability for China to export has been able to sustain that economy, and now you're seeing weakness in exports, okay? Now, check out this chart. Total value of shipments is still high, but growth is slowing. I would say growth is slowing dramatically, okay? Total exports are in the black here. Yeah, we peaked out, at the end of 2021, okay? But we're just chopping around. Basically, for the last 3 years, folks, we're just chopping around at like a baseline of about 300 billion, which is where we're at right now. China's export growth has been remarkably strong this year and helped offset weak domestic demand. That's what I was just talking about. Looking ahead, it would be difficult to sustain strong export growth into next year as trade tensions heighten. Yeah. No matter who wins this election, and we all have our political biases, there's a lot of agreement on China right now. I mean, you see big companies moving away from China, right? It would make sense. They're in the crosshairs. That's not going to end no matter who is elected in November. And they got some problems when it comes to export prices, and that is not going to slow down. China's economy-wide prices in the longest decline since 1999. This is the GDP deflator. Broad measure of prices contracts for the 5th straight quarter. And look at this chart going back to 1997. Only time we've seen that type of consecutive declines of the GDP deflator for China. You're going all the way back. Yeah, 30 years almost is where you're going. Whew. Now, steel exports are the highest since 26. Okay. Now, this article references Goldman Sachs. We jump to the Goldman article here. Okay. This Goldman article is that they get an upgrade from GDP. But be careful here, folks, because this is only talking about 2025. And what they state in here is the problems China's facing are going to come back for them again once this stimulus is over. Okay, and they cannot stimulate over a trade war. I'm adding that, but they can't. Okay, they can stimulate in the short term. And Goldman expects China's GDP to expand 4.9% this year, up from 4.7% previously. It lifted the growth prediction to 4.7 next year from 4.3. The latest round of stimulus clearly indicates that policymakers have made a turn on cyclical policy management and increased their focus on the economy. Now, as we read in other articles here, they think that basically officials have put a line in the sand for growth, okay? But if you think that's what makes a market, you think this is the new bull market for China, Jeff? We will see. Goldman doesn't agree, okay? And the reason why, to get down to the meat of it, it's kind of they kind of bury the lead here, okay? Because like I just said, it doesn't matter, and yes, very short term, okay? But however, Goldman warned that China's structural challenges remain and maintains it for its forecast for 2026 and beyond. So this is just a little blip in terms of where they are this year, next year, and everything falls back to 2026. The quote-unquote 3D challenges, okay? You got deteriorating demographics in China, a multi-year debt deleveraging trend, and the global supply chain de-risking push are unlikely to be reversed in the latest round of policy easing. Yeah, their stimulus is not going to change the structural problems that China is facing. Okay, it doesn't mean they can't get a lift after the decimation that some of these equities have had. Okay, from 319 on Alibaba down to 109. You're back to where this equity traded at 10 years ago. Yeah, there's a little bit of room to the upside. Okay, Pinduoduo, not quite the same deal. But you're trading at 140 off of the highs of 212, well off the lows that we had of $94. But just be careful in China. Heed those warnings that the stimulus is going to help, but they get some problems. They have problems domestically, and then, imagine if you're a big company, right? Do you want to be reliant on China? Yes, you can produce some goods there, but if you're a multinational corporation that has the ability to potentially set up shop in India or somewhere else, you better believe that they're going to look at that, man. And if exports has been what's driving this Chinese market higher, then what are they going to fall back on? They need those exports because domestically they have a problem. And we will see. We don't have a problem with this market, though. We got all-time highs, and we might make 5,900 by the time I get off the show, man. We're trading at 58.92. S&P's up 0.6%. Look at these equities, man. Apple driving it higher by 1.4% right now. NVIDIA to 138.32, just off the all-time highs on 140. Quite the acceleration, up by 2.4%. Microsoft up by 1.2%. Amazon up by 0.33% right now to 189, just $10 off their all-time highs as well. We check back in. Southwest basically flat this morning. Yeah, pretty remarkable across the board. We check back in on gold. There you go. Look at this gold contract, man. 26.77 gold positive on a day when you got the dollar index at 103, man, from 100. Look at this. We were just at 100 on September 30th. I know I talked about it before. Just gold. Remarkably strong. Bitcoin trading at 65,500. I watched the HBO documentary over the weekend about Bitcoin. If you're interested, check it out. Interesting. They try and tell you who Satoshi Nakamoto is, the person who created Bitcoin. It's a mystery. They make a guess. It's an educated guess. They have their theories. It is pretty remarkable that that person is out there somewhere. They could be a state entity, all right? They could be anybody. But there's somebody out there that owns 5% of the Bitcoin shares, surplus supply, I could say. And it is remarkable when you look at it. It could be anybody. It could be one of these early adopters of Bitcoin, early programmers. They pinpoint one gentleman, but check it out if you're interested. Worth a listen, worth a view if you got some time for that Bitcoin documentary. But do they really tell you who Satoshi is? I don't think so. It's an educated guess with no hard line, but it's an educated guess. All right, folks. We're 3 points away from 5,900 in the futures. We got the NASDAQ 100 up by 200 points on Monday trading. One more segment. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. S&P is not quite up to that 5,900. We'll see if we get there. Maybe we get there during our man Basil Chapman show, the Tiger Technicians Hour, coming up next. I see Basil in the Tiger's Den. He's getting ready. Nice round number, right, Basil? 5,900 on our way to potentially 6,000. We'll see. But, man, this market relentlessly strong to the upside with the S&P's up by 32. NASDAQ 100 pushing the highs we had back there in July. We're at 20,640, up by almost a full percentage point in the NASDAQ 100. And listen, you got to give credit where it's due, okay? I talk about Tesla. I talk about the warnings of owning an equity that's valued at a market cap of $700 billion on the premise of a future product that really is light on details. But, boy, you talk about getting it done at SpaceX, man. So the headline out there, and it is pretty remarkable. If you haven't seen the video, folks, just Google it because it's worth watching. How they land, and they don't even land it, right? They catch this rocket with 2 little arms in air, and they don't even land it. It is remarkable, the technology that they are going forward with. Are you kidding me? Now, that's SpaceX communication manager, but this is the Bill Nelson who is the NASA administrator. Yeah, congratulating SpaceX. And it is remarkable, man, that they catch rockets now. Remember, these used to go in the atmosphere. We couldn't even bring them back. And there it is, if you can see it. Maybe I'll blow it up. There it is. Look at this thing. They catch it midair. Imagine the technology that is necessary to catch a rocket in midair, balance it like that with almost like two chopsticks at the top of it. First time it's ever been done, man. Pretty remarkable. So you don't got to be a hater in the same essence, right? We used to talk to our man Kevin Hinks. Kevin would always say, listen, at a certain price, I can be a buyer of any equity. At a certain price, I can be a seller of any equity, okay? And the $700 billion market cap matters on Tesla, okay, folks? He's a brilliant man. He's pushed forward many fronts on technology, but just be careful when you're buying an equity that's valued at $700 billion, because we don't know when we're getting those self-driving vehicles, and we're all going to have to be able to trust those vehicles, and it's going to take some time for adoption. Not for this market, though. S&P is approaching 5,900. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Great to be back with you. Studio offices in St. Pete, they're alive and kicking. Basil Chapman coming up next, folks. Have a great Monday, everybody.